You ever move somewhere just looking for peace, then find yourself in the middle of a suburban war? Yeah, I thought I'd seen my share of crazy during 2 tours overseas, but nothing quite prepared me for what went down when I tried to build a life out on the edge of Pinewood. See, I bought this old house half falling apart, honest to God. The roof leaked when it rained sideways, the plumbing whined at night, and the porch creaked every time my dog Boone jumped up. But the land was what I cared about. Almost an acre right up against the border of Pinewood Estates, a place ruled by one of those homeowners associations that seems to think their power stretches as far as their paranoia. My deed said otherwise. I paid my lawyer to comb every letter. No HOA. Just me, Boone, and a patch of earth I could finally call mine. Didn't even last 2 weeks before trouble started. One morning I found a note, HOA letterhead. Big old seal signature from some self-declared President Diana Shaw. Said my grass was too high, my satellite dish was an eyesore, my trash bins broke community standards. I almost choked on my coffee. My grass was ankle high, for God's sake. Tossed it in the trash and got on with my life. Next week, new note, nastier tone. Now they're threatening $350 in fines. That one I didn't toss. I mailed it back empty with a sticky note, not a member. Stop wasn't enough. That's when I met Roger Hannity, self-appointed sheriff of suburbia buzzcut, mirrored shades, tactical vest about to bust a seam. The kind of guy who peaked in high school, failed the police academy, and now channeled all that leftover energy into patrolling his territory. He marched right down my driveway, one Saturday SUV idling behind him like backup. Boone started barking before the guy even opened his mouth. He introduced himself like I owed him a salute. I barely looked up from fixing my porch light. He asked if I was Jason Turner. I said, "That's what the deed says." He started going on about community standards, told me the HOA had expectations. I cut him off. Not your turf. He eyed the camera tower I was putting up, part of my security consulting business, and acted like I'd set up a missile silo. That's going to bother some folks, he said. Then some folks need to buy taller fences, I told him. He left muttering into his walkie like he was running a hostage negotiation. Boone lifted his leg on the tire tracks for good measure. After that, the harassment just ramped up. Certified letters, pictures of my camera tower, more fines, now over $1,000. They even accused me of spying on neighbors. Funny thing is, my camera's pointed at my own property. Nearest house 2 football fields away. That was the last straw. I called my lawyer, had him send a cease and desist with maps, code citations, everything notarized. Didn't slow them down. If anything, they got sneakier. The patrol SUV parked across from my driveway. Sometimes different guys, always in matching polos, acting like mall cops with something to prove. They'd jog by with GoPros strapped to their heads, or sit in the SUV sipping coffee, engine idling loud enough to rattle my windows. Then one of them tried to open my mailbox. I caught him in the act, a skinny guy in aviators yanking on the latch like he had a warrant. I stormed out. "You got a federal warrant, pal?" He jumped back. "It's a community box." "No, it's a USPS box. On my land. Try again and the feds will have you cuffed before you can say homeowners association." He bolted. But I knew this was escalating from neighborly tension to a pissing contest. So I prepped. Upgraded the tower thermal cams, backup batteries, floodlights with motion sensors. Boone got a GPS collar. I started documenting everything, plates, faces, timestamps. I knew this wasn't going to be solved with polite conversation. It got weird fast. Neighbors who used to wave started crossing the street to avoid me. That friendly teenager next door quit shooting hoops. Then came the flyers, anonymous community notice stuff, warning about ex-military residents with surveillance systems. Didn't name me, but sure felt personal. I sent copies to my lawyer. The next day I saw the same flyer posted around the community mail kiosk on a utility pole stapled to a tree on the trail by my property. Like a campaign to paint me as the neighborhood villain. One day a neighbor I'd never met, Mr. Banks, pulled up, rolled down his window and said, "Watch your back." I asked what he meant. "The HOA folks. Roger and his crew think you're making them look weak. They want to put you in your place." I thanked him for the warning. That night I got an envelope slipped under my door. "You are under observation. Cease unauthorized installations immediately or face legal consequences. No name, no return address." Sent it to my lawyer, filed a formal harassment complaint with the county, registered my camera tower as a commercial test structure just to be safe. Didn't stop them. In fact, it seemed to wind them up. Their little neighborhood patrol even made the HOA website's community alerts page warning about unlicensed surveillance near Lot 47. Online threads popped up speculating about me and my dog. One post asked, "How do we know he's not recording kids?" That one got under my skin, but I didn't bite. You feed trolls, they get bolder. Instead, I doubled down another camera, a spotlight above the garage with a siren, started backing my truck in so I could leave quick, taught Boone to bark at flashlights. One Saturday, I caught Roger out by my property line, long lens camera in hand, just staring. I walked out to him calm. "You're trespassing." He claimed he was conducting an inspection. "You have no jurisdiction." He started to protest. I pulled out my phone and recorded. Posted the video online, just 20 seconds of Roger looking like a villain from a bad TV show. The views shot up. Anonymous emails called me a danger. Someone ordered 20 pizzas to my address as a welcome prank. Then someone keyed SPY into my truck. That's when I put up a final camera facing the street linked to cloud storage with facial recognition. I didn't want trouble, but trouble had already come knocking. Then one Saturday, I open the gate and find my driveway blocked by the HOA patrol SUV parked sideways. Roger and 4 of his guys stood by, dressed in their matching black polos, knockoff badge logos, belts loaded with pepper spray and cheap radios. They tried to act tough. Boone growled, tail low. Roger demanded I come out and speak properly, meaning surrender to their little show of force. I pulled out my phone and called the police. The dispatcher barely cared. "Anyone physically threatened you?" she asked. "Not yet. We'll send a patrol when available." So I texted a group chat from my old unit guys who don't spook easy. "Need backup. Not a joke. HOA thugs blocking me in. Show of force appreciated." Then I climbed in my truck, locked the doors, turned on the dash cam. For 4 hours, Roger's goons paced taunted, let the air out of my tire, and banged on the hood. Every second got recorded. Eventually, 2 diesel pickups rolled up my guys. Craig built like a tank, and the rest from my time overseas. They parked behind the SUV, stepped out calm. No yelling, just presence. Craig said, "You have 30 seconds to move your car and leave." Roger puffed up, tried to claim official enforcement. Craig called him out. "You're holding a man in his own driveway. That's false imprisonment." Roger's crew didn't know what hit them. Craig disarmed one guy. Danny knocked down another. Miguel confiscated pepper spray. Roger's face turned the color of raw meat. Sirens blared finally. Cops showed up, real ones this time. Roger tried to play the victim, but the officers saw through it quick. I handed over all the video and evidence. The cops cuffed Roger, detained his guys, and for the first time I saw real fear in Roger's eyes. Bullies only act brave when the crowd's behind them. The next days were wild. My lawyer called. Turns out the cops flagged the footage to the county and state. The security committee was just a handful of dudes in polos with no legal standing collecting fines into Roger's private business. More neighbors came forward, one threatened for having a trampoline, another for refusing to donate to the patrol's gas fund, another targeted for flying a pride flag. All the so-called enforcement money, tens of thousands, vanished into Roger's LLC. It snowballed. News hit, board members resigned, feds got interested. The HOA tried to settle, offered me money and a gag order. I sent it straight to the investigator. Charges flew: false imprisonment, harassment, fraud, tax evasion. Roger went to jail. Diana, the president, got fined and banned from holding any office for 5 years. The HOA was put under county supervision. And those cops who ignored my first call, turns out Roger's company donated community support money to the sheriff's office. Technically legal. Still, the dispatcher who ignored me got reassigned, and the department issued a formal apology. I framed it. Sometimes you have to kick the system to get it to pay attention. That camera tower still stands brighter than ever. Roger's house sold fast. After he moved out, his wife tossed his faux cop uniforms in the yard before slamming the door. The new folks waved when they moved in. The neighborhood finally got quiet again. Even the HOA changed. The new board president showed up at my door, hands in plain view, and apologized. "We failed you," he said. I told him, "You failed everyone." But at least now they knew. The thing is, it was never about just me. Turns out once you stand up and refuse to roll over, you give others the guts to do the same. Folks like Brian and Janine and Mr. Chen, they became friends. Now there's a barbecue planned, first in years. People wave again. Boone naps by the porch, only lifting his head for slow-moving cars. Life feels normal, finally. I had someone ask if I'd write a book about this. Maybe one day. For now, I prefer to keep things on camera just in case anyone gets the itch to play neighborhood dictator again. My friends and I still get together, ribs, whiskey, and laughs about the day Craig nearly flattened a fake cop with one hand. Here's the thing, people who play with power never expect someone to push back. They expect silence, fear compliance. What they don't expect is someone to stand taller and to find a whole community behind them willing to push back too. That's how you change things. That's how you keep the lights on even when everyone else wants you to fade out. So let me ask you, have you ever faced down someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Do you think communities should have that much power over private land? Or is there a line where standing your ground is the only thing left? I'd love to hear your take or your own story if you've ever tangled with an HOA, a bossy neighbor, or anyone else who didn't know when to back off. Drop your thoughts, your stories, your battle scars in the comments. You never know, maybe your story will be the one someone else needs to hear to finally stand their ground too.